Hello there and welcome to Hederis. I'm going to give you a quick overview of our Typeset app. When you first log into Hederis, you see this screen, which is your listing of projects or books. Of course, if you just created your account, you won't have any books here, so let's go ahead and create one now. We're going to click this blue Create a New Typeset Project button. And we're going to fill out this form with our book information. We're going to use The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka for our example here. And I don't actually have a real ISBN for this, so I'm just going to put in some zeros here. And we'll click Create New Project. And Hederis takes you right to your new project dashboard. This is basically your control panel for everything you want to do with your book. So you can upload your cover image and any other interior images here. You can upload your Word manuscript. You can download your final PDF and your ebook files. And this is also where you'll go to access the design tools. So we could jump right in with our manuscript if we wanted, but let's first upload a cover just to make things look nice. So we'll expand this step 1 box here, and then we'll go and find our cover image, and we'll just drag it over and just drop it right here. Now Hederis is importing that image, and in just a minute we'll see it pop up here in the cover box. And this is actually the cover that will be used in the ebook file that it creates as well. All right, so with that done, let's upload our Word manuscript now. So we'll expand this step 3 box, and we'll go back to our file browser and find our Microsoft Word file and just drag that over here as well. And it works just the same as uploading a cover. You just drop your file right onto the browser window. So what's happening now is Hederis is actually running some machine learning on that Word manuscript text to try and figure out where all the chapter breaks are, where the chapter titles are, and how to tag each piece of text in the book so that we can then use those tags to style that text later. And it actually finished converting already. That was really fast. So I'm just going to clear these messages. And we're going to hop over to our design tools. So we can either click this step 4 button, or we can click design right here in the top right toolbar. So right now Hederis is taking that Word text and it's laying it out into pages. So the first thing we'll see is some initial page layout using just the default design that we have built in, which, as you can see, is not much. And that's intentional. We want to give our designers a lot of space to work with, and we don't want to impose any design decisions on them. So if we scroll through, we can see we have our pages. They have page numbers. Pretty basic, though. The first thing we have here in our toolbar, our sidebar on the left, is a bunch of options to design just the general look of the book. So we can pick a general font that will be used and a main font size, a main line height for our text. And this will get applied to everything, but we also have a chance to customize every element a little bit later, which I'll show you. For now, let's choose a new font for our book. Let's go with Adobe Garamond. That's a pretty standard book font. And you can see our text updated in our page here. And I'm actually going to lower our font size down to 10 points here. And we're going to keep that 14-point line height. So now I'm just going to click Save. And the line height here is important. This actually determines something that book designers call the baseline grid. And what you do with the baseline grid is it's a tool to help you make sure that all of your lines line up in the right place on every page, so that when a reader has their book open, all of the lines on the left hand and the right hand page line up perfectly. And we have a little button here to help our designers actually visualize the baseline grid and make sure that their text is lining up. Now, since we made a bunch of changes that actually affect our page layout and affect how much content fits on the page, I'm going to go ahead and run the layout again to remake our pages. All right, and here we have our newly laid out pages. You can see that our text now fits nicely on every page. So now let's go and let's customize some stuff. So let's customize our chapter titles. In our left sidebar, we have a few other menu options. We were looking at general page design. In a minute, we'll get to master pages, but first let's jump over to sections and text. So this is where you can design all of the different types of text elements in your book. And you actually have this drop down here that gives you a list of all the different elements that are in your book that Hederis found when it was running that machine learning. So we want to design our chapter titles, so we'll just leave that selected. And let's give them a different font than our body font. Let's choose a nice sans serif. We'll go with Myriad Pro Condensed. And we'll make them a lot bigger so that we can really see them. And we'll get rid of the text indent, and then we'll center them. All right, there we go. And let's just add a little bit of space below our chapter titles. Okay, that one was kind of a big change, so we actually have to hit that Run Layout button again to see it. All right, there we go. So if we scroll through, here's our nice chapter title with some space below it, and our book text. Okay, so now let's add one more really standard book thing. Let's add some running headers and running footers. This is something we do through our master pages. So if we go back to this menu here and we click master pages are a way to design the general layout of a page, but without actually designing the text that's on the page. So with master pages, you'll set your page margins, you'll set your running headers, but you won't actually get into any of the actual text design stuff. So we want to design our chapter master pages, and this will affect all of the pages that are in a chapter. So we'll expand that menu. The first thing we have are some options to design the text and font of the running headers and running footers. We don't actually have any content in our running headers right now, but let's design that font anyways. I'm going to make them use the same font as our chapter heading, Myriad Pro Condensed. There we go. And I'm going to make them a little bit smaller than our body font so that they don't distract from the body text. And I'm going to give our running footers the same settings. All right, Myriad Pro Condensed, and 9 points. All right, so we don't really see anything here. That's because we don't have any text in our running headers. I'm going to scroll down now and find our content controls. Okay, so these boxes are where we set the content that shows up in our running headers and running footers. You have an option to use some text variables. That's a little bit more complicated, so for right now I'm just going to type in some text that I want to appear on every other page. So on all of our verso pages, or left-hand pages, I want the author's name to appear. So I'm just going to type in the author's name, Franz Kafka, and I'm going to hit enter. And our text turns into this little gray bubble, which means it's ready to get inserted. And then for our right-hand pages, I want to include our book title. So I'm going to type that in. And I'm going to hit enter. All right, and our running footers are actually already set up to use this page number variable. And what this does is it actually lets us insert the up-to-date page number on every page instead of having to go in and type that page number over and over and over again and then adjust that every time the page layout changes. So let's scroll up and we'll hit save again. And then we'll run our layout again to insert those running headers and running footers. All right, so if we scroll through our pages now, we should see our author name right here at the top of our left-hand pages. And there's our page number again. And then our book title up here at the top of our right-hand pages. And we've got our next page number there. And that's really the gist of design. We could stay here and do a bunch more design if we wanted to. But let's actually hop back to our dashboard and let's create a PDF of our layout. So here in our dashboard, we're going to scroll down and we're just going to click this green Rebuild button. And we wait just a minute and Hederis will give us some messages to tell us what it's doing. All right, and it looks like the build is done. So we can go ahead and download our PDF. So we'll just click this button here. And I'll open this up in my file window. And let's open our PDF. And here we have our laid out PDF. You can see that our titles use that Myriad Pro condensed font, and our body text uses Adobe Garamond. And we've got our running headers and running footers here. And it looks just like what we saw in that preview window. So that's where I'm going to stop. And I hope this gave you a pretty good overview of how to use Hederis Typeset.